Good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to High Top Sports NASCAR. The first race is finally in the books. The Clash comes to an end. It was more of like your slash and dash today than it was the Clash, but there was a lot of clashing and banging as the roads got frosty, they got cold, they got wet. The weather tires came out, and it became a slip and slide race after quite some time. But Ryan Preece pulls out his first Cup win, although it wasn't a point series win. It was a win nonetheless. Good for him. A lot of great things we're going to discuss tonight. Kind of how the race went, some things that I enjoyed, some things that got a little bit annoying at times. But ultimately, there seems to be a mixed response across the internet of how people felt about the race. Myself was just, again, excited to see cars going in a circle once again. So it was pretty hard to disappoint me. And to be quite honest with you, when the weather started to get nasty, we saw sleet. I thought it was basically frozen ice falling from the sky. Paused it for some bit. That was really the only downfalls that got really drug out. I mean, this thing started at 6 o'clock and just ended just a little bit ago. That to me was probably your biggest pet peeve of the night. And the amount of cautions that we had was wild. It felt like we couldn't get the thing going at some times. But what I loved watching tonight was the adjustment from all the drivers. The first, once they came back with the wet tires or the weather tires, you saw everybody just spit out. I mean, this thing was going 3-4 wide, which in my opinion took what could have been a very just kind of go, through the muck kind of track where they get single file. They're just going around. They're catching the back track. It gets a snooze fest. We go home. It made it a little bit exciting. Again, it got to get a bit annoying with how many penalties there were, or flags, if you will. That kind of got a little bit annoying at times. Like we couldn't get on any type of run towards until the end there. But I did enjoy it. I think it took again, an exhibition, made it what it should be, a fun race to get the season kicked off. Seeing those guys slide around, seeing them adjust to go to that high side. And also there was at one point, choosing the inside was death. So seeing those guys learn, Colin Zilch took the inside at one time, got thrown all the way to the back because of it. A lot of good things I want to talk about from certain race car drivers. Carson Hocevar led himself, let me see, I think it was 18 laps, I believe. And I was booking it. I was booking my ticket. He was going to win the championship. I was like, here goes my boy. He's found himself. But in typical Carson Hocevar fashion, found himself 2 trucks, 2 cars back, and then just bumps Ty Gibbs, throws him out of the way. He looked good early on as well, too. But the typical Carson fashion where he just gets aggressive and doesn't have patience. That's going to be the biggest thing for Carson. Does he learn patience throughout this year and knowing when to attack and when to, do what he does best? And look, the top 3, even with there was a ton of shuffling going on. Carl Larson was at front. He drops to the back. Chase Briscoe dominated for quite some time, leading 35 laps. Who's another one that led a lot of laps? Kyle led 67. Shane SVG was up there for quite some time. We'll talk about him in just a minute. But your core was still there. William Byron, number 2. Ryan Blaney. I mean, that guy was in and out of nonsense all night long, right? And found his way to getting a podium finish, finishing 3rd. William Byron led 14 laps. He was, in my opinion, probably the most consistent driver of the entire night. One of my favorite paint schemes, and I love the Valvoline look as well, and was right there. But huge shout out to Ryan Preece, staying consistent, being able to navigate. Started 18th, right? Started 18th. This was what I loved about it, is that the thing was completely shuffled. Your top 4 guys started 18th, 2nd, 16th, and 20th. So this thing completely flipped on its head from how it started. Denny Hamlin, Chase Briscoe finishing 5th and 6th. Again, they ran at the front all night. Very consistent. Very happy to see Denny Hamlin have himself. And what's kind of funny, we talked about this on one of our shows when speaking about Denny. We'll talk about him later on in the show as well, too. He goes, look, my season can go one of 2 ways. And this is exactly what we said. And he kind of, he didn't say it, but he said, it's either going to go really, really good or really, really bad. There is no in between. And it's going to be determined on kind of how my mindset approaches it and how it kind of takes off. But that's exactly kind of how I felt. It's either going to hit the ground running. He's going to get out of the funk that he's in. I think he sort of admitted to that being kind of like, look, life throws curveballs at you. We all deal with it. Mine just more, public, so everyone knows about it. But I've had in my mourning process, that's what it is. But it's still a mourning process, right? However you want to look at it. So again, those were guys that I loved. If you saw Connor Zillich up there for a little bit, love seeing the Rook get in the action. Again, it was interesting to see him take that bottom line, and he got ate up pretty quickly on that. And SVG, who led 15 laps, he was up there. He looked very good. There's a little beef we'll talk about here with Bubba Wallace and Daniel Suarez. Daniel Suarez getting himself a P4 finish. Good night for him. I think that was a big night for him, obviously losing his ride last year with Trackhouse, getting this ride with Spire, wanted to make a early impact right away. And again, Ryan Preece having, in my opinion, probably the best look all night in that Coca-Cola car, getting his first win. Huge for RFK as well, too. Just huge for all those guys, Brad Keselowski, Mr. Buscher. I think that was huge for those guys to get on the board, even though, again, it wasn't a points race. It's a good winner's point of view, baby. Right? Exactly, Scott. Exactly. Hey, man, there's right turns, too. Calm down. I'm calm, Christy. I'm fired up. It was good to get to see some racing, rocking and rolling today, and I was happy to be a part of it. Austin Dillon finishing 7th. Ross Chastain having a solid night, finishing number 9. Bowman at 10th. Joey Logano. Joey Logano was getting bumped and bruised all over that damn racetrack tonight. I'm telling you what. I mean, who wasn't, though? Who wasn't? Ty Gibbs started off at the front of the front, led for 5 laps, was running well until Carson Var kind of took him out of the race. He was getting all over the place. Everybody was sliding left and right, which, again, I think caused for some excitement. I mean, we saw guys going 3 and 4 wide because there was, at one point, there was no true good line, and then that upper line, that high line became where to go because the middle of the track was a little bit too greasy. The bottom of the track, it couldn't get any grip. So up against the walls where we started seeing guys take that aggressive line and be able to get some speed. So, again, it was fun to see all those guys adjust to that. Again, would have loved to see Carson and Connor have some more success. Kyle, we saw him climb up to the top a little bit, but ultimately fell back to 19th. And then your two 2311 cars, Tyler Reddick and Bubba Wallace, finishing 22nd and 23rd. Let me play this clip from you here of what this is Daniel Suarez getting a little chippy with Bubba Wallace and SVG here. Go see if I can. Did I not save it? Oh wait, I got it pulled up over here. Here we go.
Aquí, go tell the spotter of the 23. If he does that one more time, when I kick his on the 97, I'm coming for him. Copy, will do.
All right, so that was the 23, Bubba Wallace, and the 97, Shane.
We've got a list. Yeah, Suarez, he can be a bit of a curmudgeon as he gets underneath.
Yeah, so he got under Bubba Wallace when there was a yellow flag, and Bubba just I-95 his ass, brake checked him, so he got up under him, and then they were bumping and bruising each other. But I love that he was pissed at 97. You know he's not gonna like those Trackhouse boys. I could see a underlying rivalry brewing here with those guys. Will Connor Zilic get some of the carryover? I don't know, but it will be one to watch this year, obviously, as he lost that ride from that team. So could it just been early tipper flares on the short track? This place is the madhouse for a reason. You're bumping and running into each other, which causes these boys to get a little rowdy. Again, I enjoyed this race more than last year's because of the chaos. It got a little bit unorganized with how many yellow caution flags there were and how many times they had to stop due to just people spinning out. So that did get a little frustrating. But seeing 3 and 4 wide at Bowman Gray, like, I mean, I'm talking like for a minute and a half getting around the racetrack. I was like, okay, if they could have had a little more grip, I would have loved it. Of course, we advertised this was the more horsepower car. We went 750 now from the 600 horsepower. So I feel like we noticed at times that speed that they were able to take advantage of it, especially on restarts. We saw a little bit of that, which was fun to watch. So yeah, Tyler, it was a decent race overall. I don't think there's always gonna be something we can complain about. Glad we got it in. Glad they were able to knock it out and even ran through the rain. I saw at the beginning, I didn't get to hear them talk about it too much, but I saw their flat. They were kind of running pretty low on the air on the back tires to be able to get some of that slide and work around the edges early on. So again, I loved seeing all the adjustments being made. I would call it a success, all things considered, given where we were 3 days ago, where this place was just covered in snow. Nowhere you couldn't even get to the stands. I would say the stadium wasn't. I mean, the crowd fill out wasn't the greatest, but all things considered, it was. I'm pretty sure Ryan Preece at one point said it was 2 degrees from freezing. And I'm watching a recap here from one of the wrecks, just to show you how crazy this race was. Ryan Preece was facing the other direction at the back of the pack, and that guy won the race. There was not a clean car. Ryan Blaney was running for the front of it. His entire front end was duct tape. So I love the guys that kind of just leaned into the chaos. We're all in after it. I just saw another thing. It was like 4 and 5 wide, like actually 4 and 5 wide here at what point. So Again, I was kind of giving this track a lot of flack, saying let's bring it back to Daytona. Maybe they just spray some wetness and some lube down every year, make it a little slip and slide track. I'll be tuned in. I'll be dialed in. I don't know if the owners are going to like their cars being bashed around, but I love it. Great race when the track was dry. It was good last year too. Don't get it twisted. I had a good time watching it last year, but I didn't mind the chaos that was ensued this year, if I do say so myself. If you guys are just joining us here, we got High Top Sports NASCAR doing a live reaction, talking about obviously the Clash. So if you guys enjoy this kind of content, we'll try to do these things, especially if there are a lot of races. So be sure to smash the like button, subscribe. Trying to get to 1,000 subs. So if you're new here, welcome. Yeah, not luck. It was too cold. It might have been a little bit too cold at points. So flat tires and frozen rain don't mix. Yeah, that was it took a minute to get them adjusted for sure. But yeah, Daytona's gonna be a fun week. We'll be there before we know it. I cannot wait. We've got the Super Bowl to get us over this weekend, obviously happening on Sunday, and then Monday we can hopefully get an essence of Speed Week and have some fun. I saw some advertisement with Burt Kreischer. He's going to be kind of the, I would say, chaperone for the week, it looked like, with concerts, with comedians, with him performing. So maybe we'll get some clips from him and have some fun. That should be a blast. He looked like he was hanging out in a tent, which during the commercial. So I hope we just get exploited with content over the next week here, talking about it, hyping it up. Excited to look at paint schemes headed into next week as well. I do want to talk about this because speaking of Denny Hamlin, I'm going to play this clip of him talking about kind of the struggles that he went through, and then also he's dealing with an injury that he will not get surgery on until the end of the season. So be something to definitely keep an eye on. But here's what he had to say about what he's been dealing with off the track this offseason.
Is different, and I think that the easy thing to say is, poor me, but it's like I still have a fantastic life, a great family. A lot of people go through tragedies. I mean, I can't tell you, what happened with my family in the off season was highly publicized. There's probably tons of those stories of crew members that happen in their family this off season, that happens to them during the season that no one really knows about. So everyone kind of has their times where they have to go through tough moments, and I think that those are really kind of building moments of your character. It's how you respond to it. I think certainly that this season for me could certainly go one of two ways, and I think there's not much of a middle road. It's going to go really one way or really the other way, and it's up to me which way I decide to turn. And so I think that right now my focus is keeping this thing on the right track and making sure I spend these last couple of years accomplishing everything that I want to before my career is over.
Sorry if you guys couldn't hear it. It's the audio coming from the Twitter feed is not great. It's from Bob Pockrass's phone. So it was speaking to just kind of overcoming some things in the off season. And I honestly had a great perspective of it. Of like, look, I'm not the only one that deals with these things, kind of like I mentioned earlier. And you learn a lot about yourself, of how you respond and how you respond in the adversity. And then again, spoke to it. The season could go one of two ways. It all just kind of depends on which way I decide to turn, which again, it's very interesting to see where his mindset is going to be and how he decides to attack this season. It's going to start off at a hot one with the Daytona 500, and I think this race for the last couple of years has been pretty chaotic towards the end there, with the win and you're in style, cause for guys, I think, to be a bit more aggressive because they knew they had plenty of opportunities. I wonder if things will change, right, headed into this race, with the understanding of like, look, we want to get off to a hot start. Like, winning the Daytona 500 is great. We want to win it. We want to be in it. I think, it's the big race. We're going to have the big one. That's just inevitable at that track. I am interested to see of how, things will adjust with the drafting, if there is any changes with these cars. Probably not too much, but that I will be interested to see too if we do see Denny race in the O'Reillys at Daytona. He did speak about wanting to race those cars on one of the super speedways, so it'll be interesting to see. Yeah, the clip it's definitely the clip. I can't only turn it up so much, so I do apologize for that one. But also spoke to he tore his shoulder over the offseason. We'll be able to get it corrective surgery on until next offseason. So I know that he dealt with that in the prior season. Obviously, had a healthy year last year, raced very well all season long. I hope he has some success this year. Not too much. We got some other guys that got to go out there and win and do their thing. But I wouldn't mind for him to, just because of, again, how last season ended, how his offseason was. It's one of the OGs in the sport. And those guys are important in any sport. And for me, who I've grown up with Denny, there's that piece of nostalgia that I'm hanging on to. Him, Kyle, and Keselowski. And because I've never been a big fan of Brad, but now here we are towards the end of all these guys' career, and it's like you're kind of like the Phillip Rivers and Drew Breeses and Peyton Mannings of the world. And it's like you're a nice staple. But I do think that we're in good hands with the Blaneys, the Bells, the William Byrons, the Larsons, and Chase Briscoe. I'm not a big Chase Briscoe guy, but he's definitely somebody that is a top runner and is going to be aggressive for a very long time. There's some young cats in that O'Reilly's track that I'm very excited to see transition into this sport as well. So, yeah, his dad passed away. No luck, yeah, in a house fire. So that was kind of what he was speaking to in the first clip about just dealing with the mourning of that. But all in all, I think it was through all the adversity, NASCAR handled it as much as NASCAR can handle any type of situation. And we had ourselves a nice little fun race to kick off the season. Like I said, this week is going to be electric. The next week we're going into, obviously, with Daytona 500. Thursday, we got the Gatorade Duels. I will be there with Little Man, so if you guys are there, say hey. If you guys are watching the channel, much appreciated. Pumped for that. Friday night, might be going to that Friday night kickoff, because that thing, there's been some rumors flying around. I'm not quite sure how true they are, with Cletus could be riding in the truck. I'm waiting to see if there's any factual stuff about that. I mean, there's some Twitter sites out there. You got to be careful what you take into it, but we could be seeing something. Y'all be sure to smash the like button, subscribe. Hope you guys enjoy this kind of content. If you do, let me know if you guys like the live reaction. I see Scott in there talking about doing a live watch party for the Daytona 500. I would like to. It's in the middle of the day. That's a tough one for me. Maybe one of these night races we'll be able to do, but I appreciate it. Smash it, like it, do all the good stuff. We'll see you on the next one. Peace and love, baby.